Good morning. It is Wednesday, December 30th, and I'm Jason Stanton. I serve at First Lutheran in Onalaska as senior pastor. This is my morning musing for today. Um, this being the sixth day of Christmas, when my true love gave to me, the song goes, 6 geese a-laying. So we're at the geese part. I have been musing on the 12 days of Christmas, the song itself, because of I'm not even sure why, but I do know that as I've read about, I saw an article about this in the not so distant past, and there's always been controversy over what is the song about, what does it mean, and then people ascribe meaning to it that the original people, probably authors, writers, probably never intend, not probably, didn't ever intend, and it makes me think how once you put something out there, and I know this about writing sermons or musings, once somebody paints a picture or writes a book or does any kind of expression at all, even Facebook posts, uh, things can get misinterpreted, loaded with meaning that was never intended. Once you put something out there, it's there for others to do with as they please, right? And one of the challenges for people as we express ourselves, especially as Christians, is others will put meaning and interpretation on the ways we practice our religion, on the things that we claim about God and about ourselves, that will be wildly different from what we're intending to express. The 12 Days of Christmas is, I think, a good example. This was a song most likely written in the 1800s as a parlor game. You know, one of the games at the time was, and actually, I saw an example of this in The Crown. I know The Crown is a pretty popular Netflix series, and the royal family is seen to be playing a game like this where they go around, imagine 20 people in a room, and one person says, a word, and then the next person has to remember that word and add a word, and then the next person has to remember the first. And it's almost like it's one of these games, right? And if you forget, you're out, or you get a mark, or whatever. And that's probably what the 12 Days of Christmas was. It was probably as simple as a game where, what was the seventh day? Oh, I forgot. Now you get a mark on your face, or you are out, or whatever. And in the meantime, since it's been written, I'm looking at this article. The article says, the song does not indeed contain a secret code about Christianity. You may have seen this theory floating around in different places. And so, for example, the partridge in a pear tree is Jesus. The 2 turtle doves are the Old and New Testament. The 3 French hens are faith, hope, and charity, or we'd say love. The 4 calling birds are the 4 Gospels. The 5 golden rings are the first 5 books of the Old Testament. We'd call them the Torah, the Pentateuch. The 6 geese a-laying are the 6 days of creation. Like, okay, you can, I guess, put that meaning onto it, but it was just a game. It's just a game. And it made me think about how things Christians do get misinterpreted. So, for example, the song is called The 12 Days of Christmas. And so many people assume that we're talking about like the 13th or 14th of December through the 25th, like the 12 days before Christmas, right? And then it ends on the 25th. We finally get to it because everybody's so eagerly anticipating. And of course, that's not how it goes. The 12 days of Christmas begin with Christmas Day, the 25th, and then go through January 5th. That's the 12th day of Christmas, January 6th being the day of Epiphany. There's so many misunderstandings about God, about church, and about the people of the church. And on this 6th day of Christmas, as we're midway through the days of Christmas, as we are just in a celebratory mode as the church. Christmas is such a big deal. We celebrate it for 12 days. I think it's good for us in the middle of this week, in the middle of this season, to remember we have a story to tell that not everybody knows. We might assume that everybody knows what Christmas means. But for many, Christmas does not mean that God has chosen to become human in order to save all of creation, in order to show God's mercy and willingness to stoop down from the heavens into this, be vulnerable as a baby, be brought up by a human mother and father, and eventually be killed for the sake of all of these people and for the sake of all of creation. Like, that story might seem really obvious to those who have lived with this story their whole lives. It's not to everyone. And so that God is grace is not obvious to everyone because many have been told otherwise. That Christmas is about that grace is not obvious to everyone. Many think it's really just a cultural holiday that is an excuse for people to not have to go to work and is a time for family to really be together. There's a misunderstanding about what the church is. Many times people just think of church as institution. What if we could think of church as the people, right? What if everybody could know that church is people, and it's people out to be the hands and feet of God in the world, and that the church is meant to be welcoming to everyone because it's for everyone. And then finally, there's a misunderstanding about us, the followers of Jesus, who are the church. Many of us Christians can come across as self-righteous and judgy, and that's the reputation that many of us have. What if we talked about ourselves as blessed to be a blessing, and that we'd like for you, whoever you are, to join us too? That could be we have a message to share because there is so much misunderstanding. I think Christmas is a great moment to go ahead and share those messages, that God is grace, that the church are people being the hands and feet of God, and that we individuals are blessed to be a blessing. Good luck with sharing that message with whatever people are in your life. Keep faith alive.